Our exciting guest by the name of Miss Candace. Lauren is a giant when it comes to the tongue. She is nifty and crafty with her big outgoing personality. One thing that I appreciate about you is your ability to say yes to new opportunities, right? Even if they aren't fully materialized, right? So similar to this situation this week that we got you on at a last minute cancellation that you're able to fill in, right? We weren't supposed to get you on the show until February, but thank you for coming to our aid, right? So the question is, where did that say yes mentality come from? And is it like a natural skill, or was it something that you had to work on to build up to?
To be honest, it's always been ingrained into just who I've always been. I've always been a very adventurous, curious person. And so I've always been someone who really thrives in situations where I am challenged, where the unknown is, not familiar. I just don't know what to expect on the other end. That's where I really grow. So throughout my life, I've always placed myself in positions where, I grow and I learn. It's the only way for me to evolve as a person. It's really important for me to do that. So it's just naturally who I am, but I find that it's allowed me to have the most amazing memories, meet the most amazing people. It's just been overall, and have the most amazing experiences and get to travel, right? So
huge.
All of those things.
Being open-minded and the ability to just go after things, and things happen magically in front of you, right? So that be an inspiration to people. Don't be afraid to say yes. You never know what's around the corner, right? And I always like to strive and hit home with the fact that, your current situation does not determine your future destination, and you don't know what tomorrow may bring, right? So go out there, play to win, and things will come as blessings roll out. You set your clear intentions on knowing what it is that you want, so then, does it align or not? If it aligns, you can move forward. If it doesn't, then, this might not be for me right now, right? So it's important to be clear on your intentions. How did you get so good at that, being clear on what it is that you want to carve out the lane for yourself?
It's interesting. When you know what you don't want, then you know what you do want, right?
Huge.
Being an entrepreneur, we all know it's like, woo!
Oh, yeah.
So throughout the years, I've tried different things. I've put myself out there in different ways. And for the longest time, I was working in the realm of graphic design, branding, things like that. And it's still very much so a part of what I do. I just don't lead with that anymore. Because what I found was, even though I worked with people and created amazing visuals and everything was great, it wasn't quite comprehensive. Like they had that, but then what's the next step? Where do I go next? And I just wanted to provide a service that was all encompassing, that helped to really cultivate leaders and help them step out into the world. So this allows me to do that even more so.
Huge.
So it's an evolution.
I like that.
Yeah.
Definitely. So going back to the point in taken, situation changing, but at the end of the day, evolution is key to everybody's success, right? What would you say is the most challenging aspect for the role that you play as a communication consultant?
What comes to mind actually is when we think about the comfort zone and the courage zone. It's very, most people like to stay in that bubble of feeling comfortable. So here I come saying, okay, let's take a look at what you've done so far. Let's do an audit. Let's talk about what's worked and what hasn't worked. Where do you want to go? And for someone to come in when people are used to certain systems or lack thereof, and they're used to doing things a certain way, for someone else to come in and say, okay, well, this is how maybe you should consider it, doesn't always, sometimes there is some resistance there. But also when it comes to being on camera and sharing, when it comes to the content and the manifestation of the plan, and when it's time to step into that, there also is some resistance, there's some fear. And so I love being a speaker because it's the storytelling is what allows people to really connect as humans, right? And so when I work with different organizations and companies, helping them to really tell that story after we've established what the communication strategy will be is an interesting process. Most people are afraid of public speaking, even if it's just in front of a camera. So just helping people get past that resistance, I think is the challenging part as well.
That's huge. That's huge. Do you have any tips for anybody to get past that resistance? Because there's a million people that, I invite to be on this show, and they're like, no, what are the questions? Can you tell it to me in advance, right?
Yeah.
And, at the end of the day, we're only asking things that are related to you and what you do,
Yeah.
right? So who better can answer it? But yes, just tell us in general, what can people do to kind of get themselves out of that comfort to the courageous state that you mentioned?
So oftentimes people are feeling the fear because they're making it about themselves. They're thinking in their head, how am I going to look? Am I going to sound stupid? Is this the right answer? Oh gosh, what if I don't know what to say? And they're internalizing the process instead of thinking about one person that you're speaking to. I know in the marketing realm, we talk about an avatar. It is so powerful because ultimately in all of the communications, you're talking to that one person. Or if you have different segments of avatars, you're creating copy and different communications for them. But if you're focused on your person, you give them a name, you give them a face. Like we literally go through the process where they create a person. And that's who you're going to think about every time you're speaking.
Right throughout.
Right? It's you and that person. Or you think about someone you love, maybe it's your sister or a significant other, someone that you feel so safe and comfortable with. And you imagine that they're sitting in front of you, you're having this conversation right now, and you're sharing with them authentically what they need to know to be better or to do better or why they need your service or, you know, whatever the case may be. When we move away from the ego, then we can actually, you know, create some powerful stuff. So I would say that's one tip.
What made you take the first step to saying, hey, I'm going to get a mentor? Like, talk to us through that, because even that is big for people. Like, they're afraid to even go down that road or invest 2 shillings into, you know, some thing that is not right in front of their eye, because you don't know what you're investing into until later on, right? So just talk us through, because obviously you said you made a big shift and it was led through mentorship. So talk to us, what made you do it, and what advice would you have for somebody out there that wants to accomplish things and they're thinking that they could just do it on their own?
First of all, I just want to say that my automatic thing, my vacuum, you know those little floor vacuums? It's going off right now. So
the robot.
Yes.
No worries, no worries.
Because it's 6 o'clock, I'm like, what is that sound? So I apologize. I got to that point because I was so tired of not achieving what I knew in my soul I was destined to achieve. And I'm tired of being so much in my masculine that I'm like, I gotta do in my ego, I gotta do this by myself. But it's like, no, there's nothing wrong with asking for help. There's nothing wrong with getting advice and guidance and coaching from other people that are 10 steps ahead of you, right? There's nothing wrong with that. It actually forces you to evolve. It forces you to shift. They will expect more from you. They're gonna show you things you never saw before. There's so much, when you're in that frame, you can't see beyond that. And so getting a mentor, getting a coach, that allows you to see beyond the frame that you're in. And for so long, I didn't believe that I was worthy. I didn't believe that I could do it deep down. And then I had to get to a point where I said, no, I need to fight for my life. Like, this is my destiny. I have to do this. There are people waiting for me to step into my alignment. I gotta stop making this about me. It's about people I have to serve.
The greater purpose.
I'm enough. I have enough. I know enough. I'm always learning, and I was always thinking I had to do one more thing, learn one more, go through one more course. And it's like, no, I already have everything I need is already within me. I have what I need. And if I don't, I can learn it. But it doesn't mean that I can't make the impact that I need to make right now. I can do that. And that was a shift. It's a big one.
Start today.
Today.
Believe in yourself. Now, the power of it. If you can give them some tidbits and tips on how they can accelerate that growth, it would be a great thing.
So there's lots of things that we could talk about, but if I had to make it concise, oh man. Okay. What I would say essentially is, again, being very clear on who you're speaking to. Right? We talked about niching down. So if you don't have an avatar just yet, please get clear on that. If you do want help with that, you can send me a message right on Instagram. I can hook you up with that. I do have a PDF that I can share where that's concerned.
Nice.
Anyway, so getting clear on who you're speaking to. Oftentimes people jump straight to the logo and all of those things. that is not even the first place. You have to build the foundations of a brand. So what are your core values? What is the brand promise? You know, all of these things. There's so many parts of it, but you build that first. You build what it is that you want to put out into the world. And then when you get clear on all of that, then you could create the logo. Because if you're not clear on exactly who your avatar is, you could create graphics that
don't match
off
what the concept.
Yeah. So just establishing those things. And then of course, seeking, if you really, really want to seek guidance, you can also go online. Of course, there's lots of online resources like Udemy, they always have sales and stuff on branding and stuff, or of course YouTube. Or if you really want that one-on-one or even group setting, you'd reach out to someone like myself who can walk you through the process of building the brand. So I do have modules, just like with communications. I did both of them because I know that they're important to walk people through step by step the foundational aspects. So that's what I would say to get started.
That's awesome. Well, good pointers, right? So like you said, a lot of people jump to the logo, but it's more than the logo, right? No. So think through what it is that you're trying to build, like from the ground, and see where it is that you want to take it, and then let that be the framework that you fill in the blanks, right? So
it's all about planning, but it's also about imperfect action. So Candace of the past was a perfectionist, and I stopped myself before I put myself out there. So
that's huge right there. Say that again. Say imperfect.
It's all about imperfect action.
Where's your most favorite place?
My most favorite place, honestly, in my home, I would say it's in the living room, because I have this like nice couch that I like to lay out. You know what I'm saying?
And you got a robot too?
Robot. I'm all about keeping the house clean. So because of my anxiety, so I have to have it clean so I can like function. But in terms of the world, I love New York City. The hustle and bustle actually calms me, weirdly. And I love St. Kitts.
Nice.
That is my place.